In web design, CSS dimensions refer to the properties that control the size and layout of elements on a web page. These properties are important for creating responsive designs that adapt well to different screen sizes and devices. By specifying dimensions, web developer can ensure that their content remains readable, accessible, and visually appealing across various platforms. Dimensions in CSS are essential for controlling the size and layout of elements on a web page. They provide developers with the tools to create designs that are responsive, well structured, and visually appealing. By using dimension properties effectively, developers can ensure that their layout adapts seamlessly to different screen sizes and resolutions, offering a consistent user experience. CSS offers several dimension properties that allow precise control over element sizing. The first two properties are the width and height that defines the fixed size of an element. The next are the minimum width and the minimum height that set the minimum size of an element can be, and this also prevents elements from becoming too small and unreadable. We have also the max width and max height that set the maximum size of an element to grow as it controls the large content to prevent overflow and maintain its layout. These properties are instrumental in creating layouts that are not only visually appealing but also functional across devices and screen sizes. So, why does dimension matter? First, we have the concept of responsive design, where a web pages adapts to different screen sizes. So, more on this when we are on the lecture of page layout. So, most responsive design uses percentage and viewport units. Another one is for content visibility that ensures all content is visible and accessible. It avoids overflow and layout breaks. The last one is the experience for providing consistent and predictable user interface, also improving readability and interaction. By using these dimension properties, developers can enhance user experience by ensuring that their web designs are both flexible and user friendly, regardless of the viewing device or the screen resolution. Now let's get started in demonstrating this dimension. So we have a H3 for the parent inside a div with a class of section 1, and we have a child element of a class of box 1 as a child. So for this demonstration, I will create a pseudo class of root. So this pertains to the HTML tag because this one is the root tag of all the web page. So we have a font size 16. So don't worry about this. I'll explain it later. Then we will reset the margin to 0 and the padding to 0 so that no additional margin, no additional padding will be added to the final width and the final height of our content. So next we will design the part of section 1. So now we will give it a dimension. I know you're not new to this. Based on my previous lecture, I already used the width and height property, but this time we have the minimum width and the minimum height, and also we have the maximum height and the maximum width. if we define a height of, for example, 400 pixels, I mean width, and a height of the same value with a background of, for example, C0, CA, 0F. So this will be the background of our parent element. For the meantime, let's set the font size to 12 pixels and color black for the specific font. Now, for the child element of class box1, let's also set some CSS settings. How about we have a width? So this time we're using percentage value. I'll explain the percentage value, which is commonly used for responsive web design. We have also a background, for example, of 78B1E7. So this will be the background of the parent and the child element. Also, let's say we have also a color black font. So remember, we are setting the width and the height. Again, the width and the height for the section 1 class. So if we're going to inspect the specific inspector for this one, so as you can see, we have 400 by 400 content area. So this one is the specific width and height. So to fully understand this one, and if you notice, inside the class section, we have a div of box1. So we have, instead of pixel, we use percentage value. It just means that 90% of 400 will be covered by box 1. This one, for example. So how about I say 50% of the width will be covered by the box 1. And for example, 50% of the height will be covered by box 1. There's an overlapping, as you can see in the height. So it overflows, for example, if you notice, about 98%. So sometimes it is overflowing the parent container. For this one, the easy definition is 100% of the width of the 400 pixels. So it is covering the parent container. So just one. But if you want 90%, this means 90%. This is the one that I'm telling you that it is overflowing because we have a content specifically for the parent. So it doesn't exactly cover the entire height, although I define it as 400. For now, let us make this, for example, 90%. So 90% of 400 of width and 90% of the height of 400. If I change the screen size and inspect this again, so remember, we have a width of 400, the parent element, which is the section 1, which is 400 by 400. When I resize my screen, so as you can see, the dimension is not changing. So why? Because we are setting a fixed size, which is 400. It doesn't matter that your screen is small or big. So the size of the section 1 will remain 400 pixels. So what if I introduce the value of min width? So as you can see, the parent expanded. So again, I'm selecting section 1. Now our width is now 431. So it adapts to screen sizes because you're telling that the minimum width that it can accommodate is 400 pixels. If I change this one and make it smaller, as you can see, we have a scroll bar at the bottom. It retains the 400 minimum width. That's why it's called the minimum width. It maintains the minimum width of 400 pixels. So same with the height, for example. So the minimum height, for example, will be 400. So if I compress the screen, so the height has a minimum of 400. But unlike width, it does not extend vertically. As you can see, if I resize the screen, so the width is changing, but the minimum value it can accommodate is 400 pixels. And as you can see, the 90% of the parent does not adopt because it needs an explicit height to compute for the 90% of the 400. How about we change this, for example, to a maximum width of 400? It means that the maximum width of section 1 will be 400. So if I compress this one, so as you can see, instead of having the fixed 400 pixels, it goes down to 333. If I resize the screen, it will not grow anymore as you set the maximum width of 400 pixels. Also, if you set the maximum height, so as you can see, the maximum height of 400 pixels. So why this one compresses? Because the height that has been decided will be the content. Let's say for example, I have a paragraph here. So let me word wrap this one. And I have a line height, for example, of let's say 20 for the spacing. So about 10. So it means if we have a maximum height for section 1 and I compress this one, so it doesn't grow anymore as we have only have a maximum height of 400. So you need to understand the minimum and the maximum height in order to understand responsive web design. So the maximum height and the minimum height is very important when we are setting responsive design. So let me fix this first again. And the content, let's fix this one again to box 1. So the height of 400 pixels is a fixed height. Then we have a maximum width of 400. Remember, if I change this to min width, it will cover the entire area as you allow it to grow. But when you shrink this down, we have a minimum of 400 pixels. So how about let us change the unit? We have also, aside from pixels in percentage, we have also a unit called view width. So what is VW? The VW or the view width is the maximum viewport in terms of width. As you can see, if I adjust the screen, so the size of the parent adapts. So same thing, if I have 100 VH for the view height, so the height also adjusts. So this is perfect for creating responsive web design that adapts to any screen size. So let me fix this first. let's revert to 400 pixels. So we have also a specific unit called EMs. So what if I tell you that I want the width to be 1 m? So what does it mean? So the EM unit is mostly for font, but you can set also width with an M unit. So what does it mean? If you inspect this box 1, so 1 EM, the width is 12 pixels. So why? The font size decides the specific width. Again, if I inspect this one, remember we have a 12 width. It inherits the font size of its parent element, which is 12. So how about rem? If I use 1 rem. So the rem means that the size will be decided by the font of the root element, which is 16 pixels. So for this example, if I have a 1 rem width, it means I have a 16 pixels. So why this is also important for responsive design? So by changing the font size of the root, you change all of your settings. If you are using rem, to 1 rem is equivalent to 10 pixels. So you can easily adapt screen size based on the font size of the root element. So I hope you understand the most neglected part for beginners in understanding the concept of CSS dimension. So use the min width and the max width sparingly. So I hope you understand that. Also, I have here a sample for images. So before to end, let me uncomment this one and discuss how it applies when an image is inside a parent container such as section 2. So now we're dealing with images. Okay, so please understand this one. This is a core concept in web design. So how about we set a maximum width for our section 2 of 400 pixels and a maximum height of 400 pixels. Let's set a border 5 pix solid red. So this one, as you can see, maximum of 400, 400 by 400. So the image overflows. So don't worry, we have the img tag. So the width of the image inside the container of class section 2 will be 100%. So as you can see, it is now adapting to the size of its container and a height of also 100%. So adapting. So to fill in this one, we will use the object fit attribute, which is perfect for image. So we will cover the images. Because if you have, for example, do not have if I remove this one, for example, and I set just only a width and a height of 400 pixels. So as you can see, the image is fitting very well. How about I set a minimum width of 400? So again, it expands to the border line. So this is an example of a responsive image as it adapts to the screen size. But as you can see, it does not retain its aspect ratio. So in order to retain that, so the object fit cover can do the task. So images must are cropped some parts of the images are cropped out, but you retain the dimension of the image. This is very good in maintaining the responsive design. So we use the minimum width, or you can use, for example, the maximum width, as you can see. So it does not retain the responsiveness anymore because you are setting a max width of 400 pixels. Okay, so we have also a height of auto, but more on automatic settings. So this could also accept an auto value, but I have a separate discussion in the future lecture about setting the width and height into auto. This is very useful when centering layout if you are designing web pages. So for now, let's leave the auto and I will discuss it in the next lecture. So try to understand the dimension of the CSS. It is very important in web design. Thank you very much for listening and see you in the next lecture.